welcome to the land of Helnamir, the beginning of a lush, vibrant world that is completely open for the player to freely explore. Many secrets lie in this land. Some you'll find out more than others. And this isn't the only one. There is going to be more worlds like this. This is just the beginning. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let me show you what I've been working on from the start. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to continue following the development of this game. Right, enough introduction. Let's get into it. Hey guys, Blakey here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm back showing you more of my little 3D game project, which has taken a huge turn as you've probably noticed if you've been following for a while. So let's rewind back to the last devlog. A few days after, I decided it was time I start preparing for more practical mechanics in the game, such as having multiple weapons that are separate from each other. The current problem I had with that was the first weapon you acquire in the game is this little orb, and at the moment, most of the code for it was intertwined with the camera code. So my first mission was to make this orb's function completely separate from anything else, meaning I can disable the orb game object and that disables all of its functionality but nothing else to do with the player. This only took me 5 to 10 minutes as it was essentially grabbing parts of code from one script and moving it to its own. And there was something about this that was weirdly quite satisfying. Maybe because it wasn't me pulling my hair out as I attempt to code something out of my depth. But I mean, hey, if you're here for a devlog about a super complex coding interface, you're probably at the wrong place, but we're working towards that level. Anyway, back on topic, Blakey, come on. Once that was finished and was fully functional the way it should be, I went back into the world and began to work on nothing. I didn't know what to do. Now, this testing world is good and all, but I don't know what to do with it. While this is here, I feel like I'm in a creativity box that I just can't get out of. The next thing I decided to do was probably the best decision I've made for this game yet. And that was to build an actual world for our little guys in this scene. So I made a brand new scene and just put a flat blank canvas for me to paint. And by paint I mean completely butcher, as I don't think I've ever made a good looking terrain in my life. But first time for everything, right? Initially, the most important things to me were ensuring all of my current scripts worked on the terrain. So I made a few curves and dents in the canvas and ran some checks to ensure my nav mesh agents could move along it and still chase the player and so on. And after some solid tweaking, sure enough, we got it working. All the enemies still hover above the ground and chase the player no matter the height of it. Brilliant. Now we knew this, it was time we make this look a little bit prettier. Now my plan for this game is to make a stylized art style, as I don't want to go for realism, as I don't think I have developed a good enough skill set for that. But on the other side, I don't want to go completely just low poly, as I feel like there is enough games that do that. So somewhere around the middle. So I firstly painted this terrain a flat green, classic, and got to work on adding some foliage. Oh, foliage. This was the bane of my life for quite a while. Unity's foliage system is great for quick and simple implementation, but making it look somewhat real, it takes a lot of time. And you've got to be pretty smart with what you choose as your grass. As you can see, my first pick didn't look so great. Maybe for a beginner's game, but for this game I want it to really be my most polished game yet. So I wasn't settling for anything but top tier. With this in mind, I ran tons of tests to see what looks good and what doesn't. This included adjusting colour, noise spread, type of grass to use, density and so many other factors. As you can see, some types just do not work in this engine with this art style and I was getting frustrated. Then all of a sudden, bingo, I found the perfect grass with the best colours, the best everything. Painting the grass on terrain up and walking through it up close suddenly gave this land a new sense of life. Even hope that I can transform this project into a dream game for me. One thing I was worried about was that we would lag, as I'm planning on having almost the whole of the terrain covered in grass, but after running some tweaks and making some optimization, we are at a steady 600 to 700 FPS. Which should be just enough to keep players from calling my game a cyberpunk remaster. So now I had all of the base aspects of Helnamir. I wanted to take it over to Photoshop and start mapping out a very simple layout for this land. Gonna be honest, pretty much winged it here. That means going in blindly for those not in the UK, and that means I had absolutely no idea what I was doing for those that don't understand that phrase. Regardless, I got to work on painting the land with the few small ideas I had in mind, and started implementing them. Now, there will be words on screen you may not understand, but in good time they will, my friends. But for now, the story behind it will remain locked away, so I'll keep you guessing for now. Feel free to leave your guesses in the comments. I'd love to see what you make of this all. I then went back into Helnamir and started sculpting the final map for it, as most of the world tests had now been finished. I had done loads of thorough tests to ensure I can move on, way more than I have ever before, which just proves how much of a step up 3D game dev is compared to 2D, and I'm slowly realising this the hard way every time I open up the project, but it feels great and very refreshing. I also added some fog to the world for a very practical reason. This being the way the grass works, it only loads in once the player reaches a certain vicinity to it to save memory and to stop the player lagging. And normally you can literally watch the grass spawn in as you move, which of course isn't something I wanted. So to counteract this, I added some greenish light fog that hides it. This means we save up on memory without losing any player immersion, as well as the environment being provided with some extra flair before we add anything else into the world. I took a top-down screenshot of the world to take back into Photoshop just so I could map out some proportions before I start blending the foliage with some other areas of the land and stuff like that. And I could then get back to work on making some new grass for the area known as the Brightlands. Again, this took some tweaking, and what you can see now is not the current colour of that grass, but you'll see that in the next devlog. I don't want to give away too much now at this point, as I'm starting to do more and more based on the story and a lot cooler, like more in-depth models and stuff like that, so I'm trying to keep a little bit more stuff a secret than I was previously. For the next devlog, I've got some super cool stuff I cannot wait to show you all, such as some new enemies and some very important architecture that will be scattered around this land. So make sure you stay tuned to see what happens next and hit that subscribe button. We are pushing for 750 subscribers this year. If you enjoyed, please do leave a like and let me know what you think about today's video, and leave a comment down below. Lads, I'll thank you all very much for watching today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.